governor. He is so great. Isn't he just the most amazing human being on the planet? I just say that so I'll get a free trip to Israel. So anyway, this is truth because I'd love to go. One, I was a preacher's kid growing up, which would explain these leather pants. I grew up in a very, very conservative church, a holiness theology, which means hair up, skirt down, basically was the whole church motto. My mama had that Tower of Babel stuck up on her head. She could touch heaven, you know, and that skirt had to be down to the ground. I mean, you had to cover your ankles. It will cause a man to stumble. And I used to not know what that meant until I got 50 and started taking on water weight, and my ankles swell now, and it is more flesh than any man really needs to see. This is the funniest thing, because coming up through the church, you know, of course, we didn't have email and social media and all that stuff, and I'm very, very active on my Facebook page. I get myself in trouble all the time because I just give my opinion, but it's my page, and I'll post if I want to. And the greatest thing, you know, the Lord has been so faithful to help us to connect, and then he's been very faithful to give us a delete button. And I use it because about 4 cousins, I don't like them all that much. And we're not on the same page, you know, theologically, spiritually, politically, so they're going to hell in a handbasket, basically. I'm just kidding. You could go to heaven and be a Democrat if you want to risk it. I'm just kidding. Where's your sense of humor? Listen, we didn't have a big choice in presidential candidates, if you want to know. Sometimes you go in the booth, you say, "Help me, Jesus," and push a button. And so, and I want to tell you, when I started being very vocal about my political opinion, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people. But you've got to look on the bright side, because the bright side is, ever since I've been talking about Donald Trump and how much I like him, I haven't had to buy toilet paper, not one time, because I go out in the yard, I get it off the trees. I did leave a sign for my very tolerant Democratic friends to start using paper towels, because I have enough toilet paper now. I don't repaint my car anymore. Every time they put a new message on there, I just don't repaint it. I'm just going to wait to see who takes office next, and then I'll repaint it, because now I just paint one letter, so my car says "itch" all the way across the side of it. But the bright side is I get to park anywhere I want. Nobody wants to park by a car that says "itch." So it's just interesting times. And people are always saying how intolerant these days are and how mean these days are. And I'm like, are you kidding? Have you ever sat on a church board? This ain't nothing. Just try to get that budget passed at the church board, you know, because we were so desperate one year for a sound system. Our church needed a sound system so bad because, you know, my daddy was the preacher and he was a spitter. And we wanted to get those microphones with the little spongy things, so after the sermon, you could just ring them out, you know. Because he'd get to spitting and preaching and carrying on, and we finally got him to get us a sound system. Now, we got a sound system at Radio Shack, because nothing is too good for our church. And every now and then, on a real clear, sunny day, you could get somebody's CB radio or something would come in on the speaker on the floor. And I'll never forget, my daddy got up to preach, and he said, "Our Father and our God," and this voice went, "Yes, go ahead." Woo! I got saved. That scared me to death. Of course, I got saved 342 times growing up. If it stormed or lightning outside, I would get saved. If there was a good-looking boy at the altar, I would get saved, because we little holiness girls ain't so stupid. I'm just saying. But yeah, incredible times. You know, and yeah, I never dreamed I would grow up and be a stand-up comedian, a preacher's kid and a stand-up comedian. That's like a cross between a nun and a Las Vegas showgirl right there. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you tonight.
Over and have a seat.
Oh, this is so nice. Right here in Nashville, too.
They love you. I love you. You are incredibly funny.
Oh, I'm just brave. That's what Lucille Ball said.
Is that right?
She said, I'm not funny. What I am is brave. And that takes a lot of courage, you know.
But your stories, they make sense to people who have grown up, really, in the heartland of America. I mean, we get it.
Yeah.
And we've been there and we've seen that.
Yeah. And
You
it's
know,
funny, in a comedy club in Las Vegas, or Los Angeles, it's kind of crickets. They didn't grow up in the same church I did.
You know, when I mentioned before, and I don't know if it really sunk into the audience, but I want to make sure they understand, the best-selling recording female comedian of all time.
Yes. Here's how God will keep you humble. At the awards thing at my agency, AA, and they're having a big little, you know, get-together for me, and the guy was reading a proclamation from the recording arts industry. And I said, I just find this hard to believe because there's Joan Rivers and Carol Burnett. And he goes, I know. We did the math twice because we ain't never heard of you.
So you make people laugh and you're having a lot of fun. But life for you isn't always just a bowl of cherries, is it? I
lost both my sisters as a teenage girl. My parents divorced. That was just, not heard of in the church world back in the 70s. And then I lost my mother recently. And then 3 years ago, I became widowed. My husband of 31 years passed away. And so when the holidays come, it's difficult. But you get very strategic. One, you plaster your favorite scripture all over the house. You play, I play loud Kirk Franklin or disco, either one. Whatever gets you out.
That's a pretty big spectrum there.
That's exactly right.
Kirk Franklin and disco.
You just play your music that will not let you get down, turn off White Christmas. I'm just going to slit my wrist if it comes on one more time. You just get very adamant about the fight for your mind. And I wrote a book called Laughing in the Dark that resonated with a lot of people because back in those days, the church was not ready to talk about depression. We wanted to let go and let God. And I'm like, well, he did. He let me go right to the psychiatric hospital. Is that how you say it? Psychiatric hospital? Where the nuts are. I spent the whole... I have wonderful friends there. And so... He'll edit all this out. But
oh, no, we won't. No, we won't either. This is priceless.
That's right. You have to get smart because depression is just an illness in this particular organ, just like any other organ in your body. And the Bible talks constantly about the condition of your heart. So don't find any shame in going and getting yourself some help. And get smart about getting some help.
I just adore you, and tonight I just am reminded why, because you have a wonderful way of making us all feel better. Thank you very much for being here. For more information on Chonda Pierce, this is her new DVD called Enough. You can also find out about her touring schedule, and if you're near her, it's worth a 17-hour drive just to go watch her in concert. Visit Chonda.org, Chonda.org.